All right, hello everybody joining through YouTube. And just get some the music playing. And I am very tired, but we're gonna read the Dev Diary anyway because that's what we do. And it looks like it's pretty short. We'll only use that emote in reference to myself, not others, and it'll be wonderful. Yeah, no, it's only for reference to oneself or to me, the streamer. Let's not use my emotes to call other streamers dumb. It's okay to call me dumb because I do it, and I know some people are gonna grumble at me calling myself dumb, but I'm dumb sometimes. It's okay. Oh, I'm floating. It's fine. It's fine. You know what? No, it's gonna bother me. That doesn't help. Alright. That doesn't help either. Alright. I'm gonna stop fiddling with it. Let's get into the Dev Diary. 159, active living. Does your model software allow for redeems to manipulate, such as by adding a cornunthum? So my model software does not currently allow for redeems for chat interaction. However, that is something that was not one of the couple of things I mentioned earlier, but that is something I'm working on getting set up once I have the time to do so. There's a little bit of software that I'm looking into right now. I haven't started learning yet. Everyone's dumb sometimes. It's always important to recognize it's only sometimes. Oh, absolutely. I mean, for me, dumb isn't it's not a value judgment. Like, the average person is stupider than half of people are stupid. See, there we go. Half of people are stupider than the average person, and that doesn't make them less valuable or anything than the average person or the other half of people who are smarter than average. Last week, we got a glimpse of what we're adding to the Wandering Nobles DLC. Today, we're back to discuss the new Wandering lifestyle and the new activities it unlocks in more depth. So I skimmed this very, very briefly, and by skimmed, I just mean scrolled through to see how long it was. And it looks like we're talking about the actual lifestyle trees here, and it's going to be a little bit longer than last week. Last week was extremely short, though, so I think we'll fly through this pretty quickly. As mentioned last week, it's set up like all the other lifestyles in the game, with 27 perks spread across 3 lifestyle trees, 3 new traits, and 3 attached focuses. Unlike other lifestyles in the game, it's not connected to an education trait, but to the traveler trait. Ooh. Now you will gain 10% monthly gain from the base traveler trait and an additional 20% for every level in the wanderer trait path. Okay. I'm excited? Wait. Did I miss something? The way we see this lifestyle is that for some characters, it might be something to go right away to use some of its bonuses. For many others, however, it would rather be a natural step after finishing a tree in another lifestyle and having had time to travel around and build up their traveler trait. Yeah, interesting. Start a new Stellaris campaign. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Last week we looked at the whole tree to see what it looked like for a landed character, whereas this time I'll show you what it looks like for the landless character. The 2 rightmost trees have minor variations, whereas the inspection tree had to be almost entirely recreated for the new playstyle. Oh. As we start looking through each perk, I will show variations of each perk, if any, and talk about a bit about each. That said, it's only natural to start with the first tree we made for the new lifestyle, Wayfarer. When explaining the fantasy of the tree to people, I often use my father as an example. This is not the person who goes out in the forest for the sake of going anywhere, but rather someone who enjoys the journey itself. They enjoy traveling, and exactly where they end up is less important. Before we start, one last thing to say is a bit about lifestyle philosophy when we created the new lifestyle trees. We wanted each tree's first perk to be generally suitable for anyone, so it's easy to dip into any of them and still feel like you got some kind of bonus worth taking. We believe it's easier to entice people to go further down the tree if they've invested some points. I fully agree with this. Then we have a midpoint where we unlock the activity, which we wanted to be a halfway capstone trait, supposed to define the tree. We also included one capstone perk right before the trait so you would feel like it's worth finishing up the rest of the tree. Good. Every tree should have at least 2 themes that will synergize throughout it. You should be active to gain the tree's bonuses. You engage with this lifestyle. This lifestyle does not engage with you, as they mentioned last week. So with that in mind, here were the themes. What were the themes for the Wayfarer tree? We attached it to fame, prestige experience, and stress loss. Attaching it to fame rather than prestige enables us to give out some sources without worrying about giving out abundance of prestige. We also wanted to include a bit of a friendly ruler traveling through their domain kind of feel to it, so we have some picks trying to enable that fantasy. Alright. Well prepared. Supply duration, more travel safety, and cheaper travel option costs. This perk was supposed to give you a simple way to make traveling safer. If you want to travel around a fair bit, which is the point of this tree, we want it to be less costly and dangerous. We also included a supply boon because it fits the name of this perk. Fair enough. Far and wide, culture opinion, faith opinion, your fame is increased by 10 for every holding you visit. That seems powerful. Only 10, though. This is the first perk dipping into the fame synergy we wanted for the tree. By letting you travel around more safely from the first perk and now giving you a fame gain, you can start racking up fame while participating in activities or traveling to distant lands. Your children have a chance to gain prowess and the traveler trait. It's inspired by the 2 educational perks in the game, pedagogy and the scholar learning tree, and the groom to rule perk in family hierarchy. I wanted a way to enable the player to prepare their heir for the tree if they wanted to dip into it with their next character, and give them a solid way to pass on the traveler trait from one character to another. As a fun little side note, the name is inspired by my father, who always responded with "just one more hill and we're home," or "it's just around the corner now," whenever my sister and I would ask if we'd be home soon when we were out walking as kids. Of course, this was a lie. It was not just one more hill or just around the corner. That's cute. Storyteller, legends spread more quickly. You may gain fame from travel and hike events. You gain access to the hike ability. First capstone perk of the tree enables both the fame and stress loss synergy. Gives you fame from hikes and random travel events, particularly danger-related ones, and the activity is intended to be a very effective way of removing stress, similar to feasts. Promote cultural acceptance effectiveness, travel to the increase the popular opinion of any realm county you travel to. That seems really powerful too. Whenever you move your camp, gain fame equal to 15 times your diplomacy skill. Wow. The first perk in this tree has 2 variations, one paying into the friendly ruler fantasy and the other into the fate fame theme. In both cases, we wanted to inspire the character to move around often. Local hero, Diplo per level of fame. So you're gaining the fame, you're gaining Diplo. You're gaining fame from Diplo. This could be pretty powerful for landless. Unlocks the Mellow Journey travel option or the Appeasement travel option. For the Wayfarer tree specifically, we made the perk of both lines leading up to the trait a bit of a capstone perk. In this case, the local hero one is intended to be a great boon for those grabbing all that fame, giving them a decent diplomacy boost. It also gives you access to 2 new travel options, one of which provides you with another way to play into fame and stress loss. Appeasement. Dread goes down, but tyranny goes down. Oh. Sometimes one must don a benevolent facade, concealing tyranny with regal charm. Mellow Journey. Travel speed down, stress gain down. Receive fame for every visited holding. Travel Companion. This is just a simple perk that increases the opinion of everyone traveling with you at any given time and improves the Caravan Master aptitude of anyone currently serving that role for you. Neat. Home Away from Home unlocks the hike activity option Long Hike. Stress loss is increased by 50% when you are traveling. This is the capstone perk for stress loss. You can increase your stress while traveling and open up new activity option, expending the time spent on a hike. This should give you more options to lose stress or gain fame. Then Wayfarer, more diplomacy, more prowess per level of fame, and stress loss per level of fame. Prowess per level of fame, my goodness. Finally, for Wayfarer, the trait tries to tie together the 2 synergies that we played into throughout the tree. It gives you higher stress loss the more fame you have, as well as giving you the prowess fame bonus. It does mean at the end of the day that how many boons you get from these last perks matter for how much fame you've managed to scourge together. But we felt that was fine and played into one of our philosophies from earlier. You had to be active to get fame, which in turn would give you a good boon at the end. Voyager, onto our second tree, the Voyager tree. The Wayfarer tree was about the one who enjoyed the journey but didn't care about the destination. Then the Voyager tree is the opposite. They don't care about their journey, but about where they are going. When explaining their fantasy, I have often described them as the tourist tree. The themes we've explored for this tree focus on points of interest and languages. The points of interest theme was an obvious fit for it, whereas the language theme just happened as we played around with themes that might fit the tree. Of course, this tree isn't limited to those things. How at Home or Organized Camp. Swing the Scales of Power has increased efficiency, and diarchs are more loyal when you're traveling. Organized Camp, more provision capacity, less provision use, and move domicile travel speed goes up. When we originally made the perk for landed gameplay, being able to handle your region at home would help someone who regularly travels around to see things. If the idea was that you should be able to travel to distant places, we didn't want you to get punished too hard immediately. That idea did not easily fit into a landless variation, so we instead tried to dip more into our idea of having something that's generally good to dip into. And that was the across-the-board boon to provisions and travel speed. Mercenary contracts. Mercenaries are cheaper and unlocks the private army travel option, which is faster travel speed and travel safety. We want to give the Voyager an easy, cheap option to provide general boosts to their travels, but having a travel option spot. This means you can travel with fewer dangers, presumably, but you're giving up other opportunities. Due to the name, we attached a bonus to hiring regular mercenaries. Journey Planner, more diplomatic range, lower activity options cost. Diplo range boost is really interesting. I don't think we've seen anything else that does that. Looking into opportunities to go to distant locations, we figured a boon to Diplo range would be an exciting option. One thing to note is that it's not an easily obtainable modifier in many places in the game, giving another reason for dipping into this tree. Another thing to note is that the tree unlocks diplomatic range matters for the Monument Expedition activity, so increasing it slightly means you'll have access to more locations for that activity if you wish. Finally there, point of interest stress loss and point of interest prestige. We wanted to empower the player when they finally reach their destination in a journey, to play into the core idea of the tree. Initially, we simply gave the player a prestige and stress bonus every time they reach their destination in a journey. However, this didn't quite work when we looked at the tree for landless characters, as well they couldn't reach a destination every other day if they kept moving their camp about. Instead, we attached the same idea directly to points of interest, which synergizes surprisingly well with another perk down the tree. We initially kept the original idea for landed gameplay, but after seeing the synergy and how much cleaner it looked, we changed it to be the same as the landless one. Okay. Learn language phase length is faster per scheme phase. Gain access to the Monument Expedition activity. Increase traveler trait experience when you visit a point of interest. The midway capstone of the tree, where you unlock the Monument Expedition. The activity was strong enough that we did not attach many other effects to this one. The first perk that plays into the language theme, making it slightly easier to learn new languages. Oh, souvenirs aplenty. Your capital will gain development if you travel to a more developed destination. Or provisions capacity. Whenever you move your camp, gain opinion with courtiers and guests. As part of this tree, we wanted to include at least one perk where we could collectively bring home development, but we wanted to ensure it couldn't be stacked infinitely. In that sense, we figured it might be fun if you, for example, slightly backwards Scandinavian, traveled to Constantinople to see the sights, and were inspired to improve your homeland. This is another one that didn't reflect well for landless. We tried different variations, some decreasing building costs for a period, etc. But in the end, none of them felt right, so we simplified and reimagined it as a perk where going to new places could give a non-stacking opinion boon within your camp. Glorious Host Impeccable Guest. Gain opinion with anyone traveling to your capital. Gain opinion when visiting someone's capital. Court position aptitude increased by +3 per known language. Bonus modifiers from the Steadfast Camp. Temperament now also scales by number of known languages. Gain 10 opinion when visiting someone's capital. We imagine this perk as someone who has been traveling to other cities and knows the etiquette and manners expected of you no matter where you are. Someone who can equally serve up an impressive feast for strangers on one side and attend one in an exotic court on the other. This is the primary payoff perk for the language theme, as you get a neat bonus for all your court positions. It's not grand or super impactful, but it can add up if you have a lot of active court positions. Been there, done that. Point of interest rewards go up, and learn one additional language without penalties. This is the other perk I mentioned, and finally there. It increases almost all the rewards you get from points of interest by 30%, with a few exceptions like events triggering or gaining traits. This is the absolute capstone perk of the tree and enables a playstyle mostly traveling around and seeing points of interest, with monument expeditions and pilgrimages, while still racking up lifestyle experience as well as prestige and reducing stress. Okay, and then the Voyager traits: stewardship, prestige, diplo range, and travel speed. More diplo range. Unlike its Wayfarer equivalent, we wanted this trait to play less into the synergies of the tree, but more be a composite of the tree. It bumps up the Diplo range even further and increases your travel speed, giving you access to even more points of interest previously out of range. Alright, the Inspector Well Landed. The final tree of this lifestyle is the Inspector tree, and as you might notice, we'll split this into two different sections altogether, rather than simply showing the variations of the perks. This was the one tree that saw significant rework for landless gameplay due to how the tree was initially structured for landed. When we started making this tree, we wanted a tree that was very much built up around a managerial figure who would travel the realm regularly to make sure everything was up to scratch. The one who periodically shows up announced in a vassal's domain to ensure they are doing their job correctly. Unannounced. I said the word wrong. The themes for this tree are fuzzier, and it's more playing into a specific idea of having to travel to holdings around the realm than to give a temporary boon. You go somewhere, host an activity, or make a decision somewhere, and that place is improved for a while. Mustering. Traveling through a domain improves the effectiveness of your stationed men-at-arms. First one is a simple boon as you travel through the holdings of your realm, improving any stationed men-at-arms there for about 5 to 10% for 15 years. In other words, consider preparing before going to war, making sure to do the rounds and inspire your men so that they get a fighting boon. Know your land, know your people. Patrocial vassal's opinion, minor landholder vassal opinion. Same realm marriage acceptance for self. Same realm marriage acceptance for family and extended family, close and extended family, and unlocks tutoring trip. This is a mouthful, but less impactful than it first seems. The patrocial and minor landholder vassal bonuses should be negligible, agreed, and the importance lies in the marriage acceptance boon. It means that within your realm you have a significantly higher chance of being able to grab any marriage you wish, both for yourself and your extended family. Want to ally with a pesky vassal who keeps being an issue? This could push up the acceptance level enough to make it happen. I understand that certain players will read this as marriage acceptance with close and extended family, and technically speaking that would also be true as long as they're within the realm. Great. Great, now we can roleplay a medieval district manager. It's all I ever wanted. It's not, but... No stone unturned. Gain development and control in owned counties when hosting activities in them. Ooh. Development and control. As part of our work on this lifestyle tree, we wanted to give the player more active tools for gaining control and development, of which this perk is a key part of. By hosting feasts, hunts, inspections, and other activities, you can now focus on where you want to improve something. Need to hold a feast and you recently had a popular revolt ruin the control in your domain? Now you can handle both of these at once. Gain Traveler Seasonal Trait Experience when you arrive at your destination. Traveler Seasoned, not seasonal. We often notice that many players ensure that they only traveled relatively safely, so the season travel track had little time to shine. As a ruler who was actively trying to make sure their realm was safe and well taken care of, it felt natural that you would be able to increase this trait track even if you didn't directly experience the danger, simply because you were so directly working against it. Neat. Inspection. Domain taxes, minor landholder tax contribution, and gain access to the inspection activity. The first capstone perk of the tree opens with the inspection activity. Should open up the fantasy of traveling around your realm more appropriately, as we'll see later. We also attracted some tax bonuses. Arbitration. Intimidated vassals give 20% more taxes and unlocks local arbitration. This unlocks a new decision where you can stop a journey to manage the domain for a while. Ooh. Effectively, you will trade some prestige and travel time to gain legitimacy and either remove corruption in that domain or gain a temporary modifier that will increase levy size, holding taxes, or development. This plays into the same logic as with No Stone Unturned, where you can more directly manage one holding and take care of any issue it might have. Same realm scheme secrecy goes up. Interesting. Unlocks the create travel itinerary decision. This unlocks a new decision. You can write a book about your travels somewhere. This is a leftover from when the tree was focused on surveying the land rather than inspecting it. When we focus more on mapping out your realm, etc. We like how the decision turned out, so we kept it, even if things around it have changed slightly. Personal touch domain limit up. Holding an inspection will also apply the effects of local arbitration. And no stone unturned effects go bigger. This is the proper capstone perk of the tree, binding together no stone unturned, inspection, and arbitration in one, either giving them to you for free or improving them. This should be a notable boon for those who want to simply do realm gardening and ensure their little realm runs smoothly. And Inspector, Stewardship, Long Reign bonus, Development growth, and Travel safety all go up. With a similar logic to the Voyager trait, this is supposed to at a glance tell the player what kind of fantasy this tree is supposed to provide to you as the player. It's about realm management and gardening and ensuring the little bits and bobs work as they should. Now, as we approach making a landless variance of the Inspector tree, we asked ourselves if we could keep the same logic as we did for the landed tree. After all, this was a tree focused on improving your realm, which is hard to simulate with a character that does not hold land. In the end, we decided to do away with the central theme of the tree and look for something that might work better for the landless playstyle instead. We landed, ha ha ha, very funny, on a theme around improving your understanding of a specific terrain. Ooh. Simply put, you can become the master of a particular field or area. Finding your way unlocks the designated terrain decision. Designated terrain danger goes down. So the very first perk of this tree is critical to setting up the rest of the tree. We unlock a new decision for you where you choose to designate a type of terrain that you would like to focus on. Woodlands, highlands, lowlands, or drylands. For many perks following this, will then enable bonuses to the designated terrain. And it's not one single terrain, it is a group of terrains, which I quite like. Knowing the land, gather provisions and designated terrain go up. Unlocks the tutoring trip travel option. As we looked at changing knowing your land perk, we still wanted to try and keep some of the same fantasy. But rather than knowing your land or its people, you know the terrain you specialize in, and how you keep yourself alive as you travel through it. As a significant boon to the Gather Provisions decision, it's an even more helpful tool in getting extra provisions, particularly if you spend most of your time in your designated terrain. Gather Provisions in designated terrain, right. Navigating the wilds, designated terrain advantage, maximum and minimum battle rolls go up in designated terrain. We knew we wanted to put a battle bonus to this one. After all, as we started playing around with the idea of specializing in a terrain, one of our first ideas was to be a renowned bandit group holed up in a mountain pass. We want you to feel like when you are fighting in your terrain, you are truly in your element. Earth's Bounty, designated terrains use less provisions. Quartermaster is unlocked and better. Head Porter is unlocked and better. Replacing the inspection trait wasn't easy, but it was vital to the original tree. What we looked at was to continue the logic from the knowing the land perk, where provisions are less of a problem as you travel through your designated terrain. Opening up the quartermaster and head porter positions irrelevant to your buildings means you will always have effective ways of handling provisions. And right-hand man, second aptitude goes up, gain skills points based on camp purpose. Diplomacy, martial, stewardship, intrigue, or learning increase. After making Earth's Bounty, we felt that a tiny sub-theme of officers in the tree, so we thought we could play further into that with this trait. The second officer is the most crucial position you can have as a landless character, and this is a way to ensure they are doing their utmost for you. The second part of the perk was my experimentation to see if it would be interesting for the player to gain skill bonuses based on their current camp purpose, slightly inspired by other perks such as Friendly Counsel in the Family Hierarch tree, or Learn on the Job in the Scholar Learning tree. As you might imagine, the exact skills will change depending on your camp purpose, such as Martial and Prowess for Swords for Hire, or Learning and Stewardship for Scholars. Kings of the Wilds unlocks the Master Terrain Decision, effects for your mastered terrain, less danger, more provisions use, refill men-at-arms is cheaper, prestige and fame from battles, advantage, maximum minimum battle roll, negate supply limit penalty, and less attrition taken. This is the capstone perk of this lifestyle, unlocking a decision to hyper-focus on a specific terrain from the ones in your designated terrain. For example, if you choose Highlands the first time, you can now select between mountains, hills, or desert mountains as your terrain to master. The idea was, since you specialize in a particular terrain, you are likely to often be forced to take action outside of that terrain, and then get 0 bonuses from this perk. So in turn, they should be extra strong when you finally get the chance to shine. This is great. This is neat. This sounds really fun. I really want to do that Prince Ali run now. Very much with some of these bonuses. Like, I'm getting ideas. As we started working on the DLC, we knew that we wanted to add activities so the player could open up more travel options. We already have many options across base game activities, see Hunts, Pilgrimages, and Feast, and DLC locked ones, see Grand Activities, but we want to make something symbolic of every tree. In the end, though we had many different potential options, we ended up with 3 activities we wanted to go for. Hikes for the Wayfarer tree, so you can travel just for the sake of traveling. Monument expeditions for the Voyager tree, so that you can get to the points of interest you want to see. Inspection for the Inspector tree, so you can improve the specific counties you want to improve. It was vital for us that each activity gave you more of what the lifestyle tree already gave you, but usually with minor tweaks or twists from the regular lifestyle. For example, the hike will give you stress loss and fame, but you might also get Wise Man XP. Speaking of hikes, you can set out with your guards and up to 1 special companion to leave at life at court for a small bit. A raid? Taz, welcome! Welcome, raiders! If you bring a companion, the events will change slightly based on that, and you'll have opportunities to build a special bond with them, or torment them if they aren't built for hiking. You will set out towards a location usually quite remote from anything, and as you reach that area, the activity will start. You'll take a short hike before you return the journey back home. You'll go through several events detailing your experiences in the wilderness, some rarer than others. Welcome, raiders! We are going over the Dev Diary for the next DLC of Crusader Kings briefly, and then we're gonna do a raffle drawing for the Donathon that we did this weekend. If you want a chance to grab some free art from our mod Fusion, you do still have a chance to donate at that link there. If not, make yourselves comfy. Anyway, I'm Coffee. I play historical grand strategy games and whatever else tickles my fancy. And if that sounds like your bag, make yourself comfy. Welcome. How was your stream? My retinue and I have finally arrived at Stillborough, and just for a second I'm taken in by the view. Towering trees, sunlight playing across mossy ground, and fresh-scented nature hanging heavily in the air. Finally, I can put the hardship of the court behind me and just focus on finding a moment to relax, a moment to put everything aside. We've been following an odd path through the forest for hours as it slowly fades and then disappears entirely. Looking around, I find myself in a small clearing and there's nothing here, just the quiet of the wilderness. Being out here already felt distant from my life in Prague, but somehow now it feels like we have crossed the border between the human realm and the unknown. It's time to leave this little clearing behind us and start walking home. I wonder if I'll ever see it again. The systemic events of the activity, start, mid, and end events, don't have options, but any randomized events in between those will. You will see people meet sights or experience nature's good and bad sides. I'm going to skip through most of the events just for the sake of time here today. But feel free to check out the Dev Diary and go through these yourselves. The Monument Expedition is one of the only one of the three that lets you travel outside your borders, which felt fitting considering the lifestyle trees and how they've been set up. You can go to any barony in the world with special buildings, so it's not just any point of interest, but it will let you visit most of them. I mean, that's huge. Outside of being able to travel to any barony, this is the next best thing. Like, that's a lot of locations in Europe. When you arrive at the activity's location, you can choose one skill to focus your efforts on as you explore the local sites. The alternatives will be based on the building and its type, and then throughout the activity, you will have opportunities to increase or decrease the chances of getting skill bonuses, skill boons. Most events related to the activity will either increase your chance of getting extra skill boons or give you options for good court position holders. Finally, at the end of your journey, you'll gain a slight skill improvement with the possibility of a second one based on how things turned out. Now then to the final activity, inspection. Similar to the hikes, this can only be done within your borders, giving you a few options based on where it is and what you want to do. One thing to note is that numbers might be higher than they should be in the following pictures. That's the other reason we're not going over the event pictures in huge detail, because numbers are likely to change. May gain claims, may increase offer vassalization expectance. We went over this last week, I believe. As you arrive, you have three options to choose from. The first one is only available in border countries. They are claims, vassalization acceptance, taxes, county control and development, or levies, opinion, popular opinion. We made all the information easily accessible in the event, so you do not have to comb through menus to find it. In the picture, you can see that you have 325 levies from the county, 1.64 in taxes, 9 development, 10 popular opinion, and the local ruler has an opinion of 100 of you. The opinion chosen will affect the rest of the inspection and how things turned out. And this will be the goal of the inspection. Based on your options here, many events in the rest of your activity might act slightly differently. For example, an option that would increase the chances of success for someone aiming to increase levies, opinion, popular opinion, might decrease the chance of success for someone aiming to increase taxes, control, or development. Fair enough. Halfway through the activity, you'll get a second option to specialize. Here you get to choose even further. In this case, we've decided on taxes, county control, which is invisible due to already being at 100. Development is our first option, and here we get to choose between taxes and development to hyper-focus on. This lets us decide which will have the strongest effect in the case of a successful inspection. Throughout the inspection, you will encounter a fair number of events that give you opportunities to affect the county in some way. Most of these will have opportunities to increase or decrease the chance of success, which is the heart of the activity. And if things work out, you'll get the rewards you sought. I mean, simple enough. I'm going a little bit quick because I don't want this to go through to ads, but... And that's it all for this time. Hopefully you enjoyed this glance at the new lifestyle and new activities. With winter soon upon us up here in the north, I'd figure I'd give you one last art piece to look at before I jump out. Look at it and freeze like I do. Oh, that's so pretty. That's really gorgeous. Oh, and remember to leave any questions you might have about the DLC here, and I'll be happy to answer them. Alright. So if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, blah, 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 all that stuff. Twitch, we're going to go ahead and run ads and then look into that raffle draw. Yeah, join the Discord, follow me on Twitch where this was recorded, etc., all that good stuff. That's the deal.